But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win. We choose to go to the moon.
All right, welcome to the 187th episode of the World Blockchain Roundtable. Our hosts for today are I am for I am, or Domine Imperator Caesar, I am for I am Augustus, Pater de Den.Social, and all media in a social realm that we may set our eyes upon, beacon of wisdom and perpetual guardian of the lairs. I am for I am. Welcome. Sean, where is Sean? How did he not get? I don't know.
There he is.
There he goes. Sean, Satoshi, Sean, everyone's best friend. Which is your given versus what do you call it? What's the other name? What's your last name? Is it Sean or is it anyway?
His mother calls him Satoshi Sean, or sometimes just Toshi.
Right on.
What? You just confused me. I was kicked out, and now my last name's Henderson. But
see, I don't even know if I knew that. That's good. That's good. Greg, I do believe is going to be here. I don't know where he is. Andrew, I do believe is going to be here, but Zach is here from the Legacy Right, correct? Welcome.
Howdy.
And Lisa from the Mighty Lair, and Litecoin Lisa and Mighty Davis. I don't know which one to use now, but either way.
I like them all.
Excellent. Very good. So everybody, thank you for coming on. And quick update on the NFT distribution from last week's episode. Topic was Roger Ver's case update and its effect on blockchain. Every host from last week will receive 222 lot. Every topic contributor, 166 lot. Last week's theme was nominated by I am for I am, who will receive 166 lot. The ownership tokens come with perpetual passive income, free edits, and governance votes. And let's see here. We have a vote happening right now for the themes for the month of January, right? The top 5 will be selected. Apparently there are 5 Thursdays this January. As a reminder, the hosts have the option of calling an audible for any given episode and also to rearrange them because, here we have Santa's perfect blockchain, right? I don't know if it doesn't make sense anymore, does it? Did we not get a Santa one in December? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Blockchain in China. I haven't heard anything about that for a while. China with a Y. Yeah, debunking common crypto or blockchain myths. Check out that cut that. That's funny. I thought HTML wouldn't cut a word like that. Anyway, blockchain and quantum computing.
That's a very interesting one considering what Google's put out.
Yeah, with the Willow.
Willow, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. Freestyle blockchain content, debunk or prove conspiracies with blockchain. Already has 1 vote. Modularity in blockchain. Why don't the most popular blockchain protocols have privacy on their fork maps? May 22nd, Bitcoin Pizza Day is May 20. Oh, somebody put this in early. Okay, I get it. Bitcoin and blockchain State of the Union. Blockchain discussion about the new SEC chair and the crypto czar. Those are 2 different spots? Is that right? Crypto
yes,
czar?
2 different spots.
Are they both? I know the chair is appointed. Is the czar already nominated?
They are. Yeah. Well, I don't think it's a nominated position.
Yeah, czar. I don't think it's
more
nominated.
of like
it's just something they make up. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Why do they call it a czar? If we get in there I don't know. It seems like a czar would be.
Why do they call me an
Dare
emperor?
you? Yeah.
It
Well,
shouldn't be
that
asked.
goes
It
without
shouldn't be
saying.
questioned.
Will the crypto czar actually have czar-like influence? I don't know, right? Anyway, Bitcoin's birthday party, January 3rd. What do we celebrate? 12% already. Who voted on it? I am. Right on. I think this one should pass, right? This will be good. January 3rd. We have to make sure this is the first one, right? What's the third on it?
There's 5.
You meet on the 3rd?
What's that?
I'm looking. The 3rd is a Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay, so it'll be right after. That'll be good. All right.
Lisa, hold on one sec, just real quick.
Yeah.
Lisa, are you streaming this on your channel?
Yes.
Check it to see if it's streaming.
Well, it just
I'm streaming on my channel and it says waiting to start.
Okay. It shows a little green check here, but I will go do that. But don't wait for me.
Okay.
Proceed.
What blockchain, coin, or token would you give to your Valentine? Again, someone thinking ahead. I can guess who. Blockchain solutions for a post-banking and government collapse. Probably the most important one on the list. Long term. Good vote.
All right, Alexa. Hey, Derek's got the vote.
Right on. I need to decide what to vote on. I'll wait a little bit so I can figure out what needs.
We got 5 this month. Nice.
Be strategic. Yeah, 5. We have to get 5 of them on the list. Or if it doesn't happen, is it just freestyle? If we only have 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think
how it works.
Yeah, I think that works.
Very good.
I don't think that's in the actual proposed guidelines or rules.
Right.
Y'all are streaming on my end.
I probably need to fix that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see here. That's the vote. The theme of the week is here we go. Is crypto and the world becoming centralized or decentralized? Episode 187. So that's it. Do you have anything we need to cover? Anybody before questions?
First of all, thank you for that warm and spot on announcement of who I am and introduction. I appreciate that, Joe. Maybe we should just cover real quickly the difference between centralized and decentralized blockchain.
Is that who's listening to Bon Jovi over there?
It was Africa by Toto, and it's a ringtone.
Oh no!
Almost give Bon Jovi.
Almost as bad. I give you a little. Okay, Africa a little better.
Someone from Clearwater, Florida, so obviously it was a star. No offense, Florida, but come on.
So
okay, sorry.
Anyway, I think maybe we should kind of talk real quick about the difference between centralized and decentralized, and then a third one would be distributed. But
yes, yeah. Who wants to start?
And that would be kind of leads into layer 0, 1s, and 2s, whatever. But maybe what do we have here from H. Ion?
Decentralization world does not exist. Government will always control the world. Your people will never win from government, and crypto is under government control, and that is why Bitcoin is going up. I do think Bitcoin is going up because of decentralized stuff with Tether. That is definitely true.
But I don't disagree with that comment.
Also, the government thing, if there's going to be a new arms race with Bitcoin, I was talking to Lee about it, and he said, do you really think we're going to hit 1 million? I was like, I think we could hit 1 trillion. And he was like, no way. I don't think we're going to hit 1 million. I said,
with
dude,
Bitcoin?
Governments, they can buy so much so quick that they'll kill the supply and they just lock it away. It's just, put aside. So it's out of the market. I said, I think it could skyrocket to where there's just none left. For regular people to buy, it would have to be so expensive. But they do. I mean, you've said it when the money is power. And if they can come in and just buy the whole thing, they will. Like we had a meeting, and you said, this is where we always get to, and now just like everyone, we get to the legal part, and this is where people are scared to build, scared to do stuff. So you see who's really in control, whether they rule with fear or with with the certain pillars of power. One of them is fear, and then there's violence. But one of the biggest pillars has been money, and that's the whole point of crypto, is to take that pillar of power away from their foundation and give it back to the people, to where people have that foundation of power, and hopefully,
Well,
evil crumbles.
and without perpetual, how do I say, money printing, or it's infinite money, you get infinite evil, wars, and everything else going on. But I would disagree that the $1 trillion thing, if they were going to buy it all out, they're going to buy it over the counter, and they're going to manipulate that price down. And I don't know, they'll just do all types of stuff. It wouldn't hit $1 trillion if they're actually pulling it in. So,
well, it's kind of funny. Is the government going to do the ultimate rug pull? Because if the government is buying it, and the purpose of is trying to maybe wipe out the debt or support the dollar, either one. At one point, if the dollar becomes challenged, then they will have to sell off the Bitcoin, and that's like a giant rug pull as well, a price manipulation, a dump.
But if you look at the past, and that's what I always say, you learn from the past, and that's why we're all going to be dead in the next few years. But
I have a question. How does the ETF play into that, though?
Lisa, this is a regular show. You can't interrupt me all the time.
Yes, I
You
know.
can't on our show.
How does the ETF
I was saying
play
something. Like when the government took all our gold from us, they did lower the price. They took all the gold, and then they jacked it up. So I think if they do buy all the Bitcoin for reserves, or to have it, to use it for debt, or to use it for whatever, they're going to jack that price up. So, and they can't they didn't buy all the gold. They didn't get all the gold. So, it does push it up for other people that still got in and had some. I think, regular folks, no coiners, they don't have much hope, in the next few years if, governments come in and take it all.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be able to maintain, because the miners would be still mining, and you would have $1 trillion Bitcoin being mined. It would be dumped over and over again.
The fees would be atrocious. Can you imagine? That would be $1 million.
No one would use it.
Bitcoin,
which, maybe that is the point that you're making too.
Yeah,
but
no one could use it but governments.
Yeah, but I would say that if it were usable for real, if it were actually real cash. I mean, you remember, and I forget this. When you go back in the heyday of Bitcoin, Microsoft started accepting it, and Amazon, all these real places started accepting it, and then it started really getting crushed because they didn't want it to be used for cash. And if it would have continued down that path and hadn't hit upon, what's all this noise? Hadn't hit upon the censorship and the all the maximalist tribalism stuff, it would have already been $1 million. Just naturally, organically, because that you think about it, a real trustworthy, transparent supply currency that anybody can use across any boundary is actually worth a lot, right? But not if you cripple it, not if you make it expensive, or it's like 7 transactions a minute is good enough for us, right? Or is it a second? Whatever it is.
Second. Which some people might think that's fast or a lot. It's not nowhere close to what's needed.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. But ultimately, it comes back to, I guess, what's over my shoulder here, the book. Oh, there you go. Right there. The hijacking of Bitcoin.
So let's get to anybody who believes that there will be a Bitcoin reserve, and if it makes sense, does that make sense to anybody?
Yes, and I think there will be.
Not U.S.
Not by the Fed.
Yeah.
No.
I think in the past it would have made some sense. I was always in favor of, hey, let's do a gold/crypto standard on the currency, but they do not want that. It's not.
We talked about Willow and how I thought, hey Greg, I thought when I heard this being brought up like last week or a week or so ago, it was being brought up in the mainstream media, and it was immediately talking about how it could break Bitcoin. And I was like, oh, last ditch effort. Because we talked about this in the crypto sphere 5 years ago. That, my professor in school talked about it at length. We had a course on it, Antonopolis, how quantum computing could break the encryption, blah, blah, blah. But you really couldn't, because it would take longer than the Earth had to be around. Like the Earth would be destroyed before it could do it. It would have to be like on a space station or somewhere else in a different galaxy. The sun would go nova. It would take so many years. And so I was watching this conversation that was conversations we had in the space 5 years ago. Like, oh, whenever quantum computing comes around, but that's, 20 years, 50 years down the road, maybe, 100 years. And it's not a threat, because you have to, and we talked about this on Truth Tuesday. You have to be at almost absolute zero in order to run that. But now there's these weird boxes, like rooms, that Google has, these black, they don't know what runs them. It's very secretive, but it's almost absolute zero inside these boxes. So I think maybe that is a possibility. But they were talking about, so this could break Bitcoin. You could hack into this. And I was like, oh man, you guys are just bringing this up. I was like, this is just meant scare tactic.
It's all VCs boosting is like, oh, we need to get some funding over here. AI's taken they've stolen our thunder with quantum. We need to bring that back.
We need more regulation.
This could mean that Bitcoin could be all.
But then they started talking about how what they have now will, at the present time, can process over 100 qubits, which that's scary.
Right.
Well,
true.
That said, right, there's a security element to this question, right? You get to use this one time before everybody who thinks you might have it knows you have it for sure, right?
Yep, just like a 0 day.
So
that's what, and it's nowhere near enough to do what would need to be done yet. It might be soon. Who knows?
So they use it the first time on one blockchain. Every other blockchain immediately does the update, including the one they attacked, and life goes on, right? Yeah. Or, as is more likely, they don't have the capability yet, and we will likely be done doing the Y2K-like update necessary to make blockchains quantum ready, well before there are too many qubits to be comfortable.
The other thing you have to understand too is there's such a gap between what the layperson's on, and I don't even understand enough about quantum tech, right? But what I do understand is that a lot of the announcements that they make, and it's very similar to crypto in my opinion, that they will announce something that sounds frightening, or it's a big deal. And it's VCs and wanting to attract money in and stuff. But
the question
usually the question they ask and the way they ask it is tuned for the machine itself, and therefore not really a demonstration of the difference. So I think a lot of it's BS, and you can't trust a VC any further than a banker or a politician, right? So. That's why I always think, and it's like, if you could go talk to the actual tech guys behind it, you'd get the real story, I'm sure.
But the question you asked is do you think there would be reserves? And I think it's just like we were looking at back 5-6 years ago, when smaller countries were looking at doing that. You know what I mean? Hey, we don't have a lot of gold, we don't have a lot of natural resources. We're a small like island countries. They could kind of make their mark on the world stage by having a Bitcoin reserve.
They tried, but the IMF shut them down. The IMF doesn't want them.
I have already on the list for
that was for like a reserve, not reserve, but to have for their currency.
Right.
But going back, but one person cannot make Bitcoin a reserve or support for the dollar. That's going to take an act of Congress, and I don't
Congress
see the
can do
votes
that?
in Congress to be able to do
And
that.
Congress can't control our money supply. I know you're emperor, but I don't think that they have that power these days.
No.
So, as odd as that might seem,
Well,
we don't
it'd be
actually
interesting to
have control
watch.
over our money.
They do, but they choose not
there's a
to.
good
Right.
point.
It would be
Yeah.
interesting to watch them
Yeah.
try to exercise that power, because it would look a lot like failing against people who are more powerful than you.
Yep. Yeah, man.
I mean,
Anyway,
you don't
all
want
right,
to end
so
up
we
with
got
KOK.
questions.
We-
We
Not
can
a
get
director of it.
loop back or into all the current events. What do you think?
Yeah, we'll loop back. I think we should jump into the
lot.
questions. And by the way, Fragile.
Yes.
Nice.
We just watched that. I'd forgotten about that part.
I'm sorry, I don't speak Italian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. Here we go. First question. Man. Oh wait, I didn't refresh. What am I thinking? While I refresh, please make sure that you like and subscribe and all that stuff. Right. Okay, now we go down. Now that you know that it is refreshed, the first question is Jacob Wayne, and I'm always going to vote Jacob Wayne up. It might be a mistake. I could change my vote for the next hour, but
He's a
I've never
Texan.
seen
He
a bad
deserves it.
question. I don't know. Even though he's a Texan,
Red heifer.
that dude, that eye patch dude, is a Texan. I forgot about that. You guys still have to answer for him.
Did you get? I sent
and
you
the
an
red
update.
heifer.
I sent an update on the red heifers to World Watching Roundtable, didn't I?
I don't know. I didn't see
There's
that.
this woman went and checked the red heifers out. They were talking about how October 7th was because of the red heifers. But Jacob Wayne, I want to say, he has a YouTube channel. I don't know if anybody knows that, but you should check it out. A lot of CRT
cool.
stuff and video
San
games.
Antonio, right?
My kids have a video game channel, and my son just got a brand new and did an unboxing video for a CRT television from like 1996 or 5.
Nice,
Dude, I'm looking for one of
Those
those.
are cool.
Where'd you find it?
He was cleaning out his friend's house with him, and they found this.
CRT.
They bought this brand new TV for Black Friday, and just never opened it.
One of those 90s TVs that you power on that has like the old school tubes and the glass, so it has this kind of sizzle to it.
Okay.
Any of the really old ones where it would take them time to heat up, and you'd see just a strip of light,
Yeah.
and then when it was off, you'd just see this dot in them. It was awesome.
Dude,
But you need
that's-
to bring those back. Old video game systems. Yeah,
They
Yeah,
do.
no, I literally just had my family unearth my old Super Nintendo, and it has an OG copy of Earthbound, which I haven't played in years.
Oh man,
Yeah.
We should have a
I'm
show
all-
just
all
where
about
we
this.
just play these games. We just bring it. We'll bring it. I'm sure we
Novel
can.
we
idea.
own every
Never been done before.
we own every game console ever made. So
Really?
every single one.
You sure?
Wow.
I'll bet you some.
speaking
So
of
it's
Earthbound,
just challenges to the comments. See
Yeah.
if you could challenge him. If there's anything that they. You have. I imagine you have ColecoVision.
Yeah,
Imagine you have
Dreamcast.
television.
Yeah,
You have the Atari 400 and 800
I
and.
think we don't have a Jaguar.
How about the 5200? I had the 5200.
We have the Ataris, except for the Jaguar. Um,
Never had Jaguar.
we don't have a.
Sega Genesis was awesome. Anyway,
It was. Yeah.
I don't know, man. For what the capabilities of Dreamcast can do with I mean, that's probably the best system now.
I never played that one. I've
That
read a
became
lot
the
about it.
basis for Xbox, pretty much, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were a Sega family.
Our a lot of people don't know this. We had an advisor, early Dragon Chain, that was you can look it up. He was the guy who invented, for accountants, which I'm not an accountant, he invented the pivot table apparently,
Interesting.
and also he was the guy who Gates went to, and he said he wanted to start a video game division, and so they created the Xbox, and so he's the creator of the Xbox. He's a former Dragon Chain founder, no longer, but anyway, interesting stuff, right?
Cool.
All
Cool.
right. Okay.
Let's get
Question:
into this blockchain.
what do you think the powers that be, in bold, will do to curb continued growth of decentralized blockchain projects? Will they approach it from a legal strategy, or do you think they will continue to tarnish crypto's reputation, stalling adoption? So I have some pretty good answers here, but let's start with William.
I'm going to say both. They're definitely going to continue to tarnish it. They will. Who knows if they're even involved in some of the scamming and rug pulls and all this kind of thing, or looking the other way and not really investigating or trying to find them and whatever. I don't think they're really trying to protect people out there from these slime balls that are scamming people with crypto, because it gives crypto a bad name and it prevents more people from getting involved in investing in and understanding and learning what the power of decentralization is. They're all about centralization. They are a central power. It's a federal government. So if you want to call it the powers that be and define those as the super intelligence agencies or whatever it might be,
I think that's
they're going to prevent it. They're going to prevent it. They're going to try to curb its growth, and they will definitely use legal strategies. The SEC cases continue.
And Lisa.
I mean, yeah, this is just no fun answering this question, but as long as we have the powers that be, and as long as we keep asking permission, then yeah, they're going to keep throttling us. So
great point. Yep. Asking for permission.
Yep. Zach.
I'm going to take the world states answer to this with what's happening with the cryptosphere and Bitcoin with El Salvador. El Salvador recently is trying to extend agreements to Argentina and most of the rest of the world. And I think that in itself is a race for most central governments to expand their Bitcoin and consolidate their powers in regulation. And then on top of that, just the sheer fact of using the strategy to go after criminals is another tangible asset towards federal governments around the world to essentially just stamp down with more regulation and take the little guy out of it so that they can have more control.
Yep. All right. Let's see here.
Sean.
Well, I think that the big thing here is powers that be. And when stupid people and normies wake up and understand that the power is with the people, that's who the powers that be really are, it's going to change. I really liked how during this last election cycle, people like Vivek and especially Musk and even other like actual politicians were using the right words: decentralization. Those kind of things that are real. Scary words to the powers that we're talking about. I think that they're going to use whatever power they have. So if Vivek goes in there and Musk and they kind of clean house and they fix a lot of the things that people are talking about, 3-letter agencies and the powers that are currently being, if they lose that, they always do have tarnishing reputation and kind of sleazy tactics. That's what they'll use. But if you look at Venezuela and the damage that it was able to do to the youth in America and across the world, like when Bernie was running against Hillary and they screwed him. When you're able to hold up an example of something that works, then people will listen. And El Salvador was, or Venezuela was like, look, it works, man. It works. It's great. It's super. You just needed like 2 more years, and then it all fell apart. So I think the more we have smaller countries and other countries start to utilize it and more decentralization, and we have more wins. You have more states like Wyoming and other states that start adopting, putting voting on blockchain using crypto, and people can see the wins and the positive things. You'll basically have less and less power. It's the thing that like Greg said that hit hard, and I keep come back to it a million times in my life now. That when the car came out, one of the biggest proponents of it and the people that tried to stop it was the riding crop industry, and that they had massive political and financial power, and they were like this juggernaut. And that's a joke. It's funny. It's an anecdote in history. So I think, and we all agree, we're living through history. We have been for the last 20 years, really. So I think that when people realize that, and people start to see, the wins of decentralization, blockchain, and crypto, all of that, I think a lot of this, the banking experiment, fiat money, all that will be a footnote, anecdote in history that was around for 100 years.
Right, just like the last 3 times they did.
Right, that's good. Greg.
Okay, I think the answer here is yes, and right. Like, they are going to do everything they can. They're going to. I mean, in fact, at the very earliest days of the cypherpunk movement, you go back, you read the Crypto Anarchist Manifesto, and you'll see Timothy May talking about it. They're going to try to stop it. They won't succeed in the long run, because holding back technology whose time has come is impossible. Right? It's like. It's an effort that is what we would call Sisyphean, right? Like they're pushing a boulder up a hill and it's going to roll back down before they get to the top. But they're going to keep going. You saw something pretty interesting happen yesterday, right? With the legislation they tried to ram through to fund a whole bunch of crap, and people actually got pissed off enough about it that they pulled it back. This is something. That legislation alone had 2 or 3 pieces of impact to blockchain and crypto stuff, just like crapped into it, right? Yep. I didn't have time to read it all and make sense of it all. It all looked good in the short title, but then again, what doesn't, right? That's the part where they put in the stuff that makes it sound like what they're up to is good.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then, of course, the reputation thing. I think they do a third thing too, right? I think they try to turn us on one another. I think that there is likely a relationship between how maximalist one is and how virulently maximalist one is, and the likelihood that you're fed. Because getting into these conversations, I was literally on a cypherpunk space the other day, and somebody got on stage and started trying to make it about Bitcoin maximalism. And I was like, spot the Fed.
No joke.
Yeah.
I'll say all the above. Definitely, they will use legal. They will use social and try to tarnish stuff. They will use literally everything at their disposal, which is literally everything. If you have unlimited money, they can even do the tech side. And by the way, they will also fund projects through VCs to set stuff up. What do you think FTX was? FTX was literally set up in order to tarnish crypto's reputation, all the while churning tons and tons of money to wherever they want to funnel it, right? All the while screwing whoever took part. And that's the main point I want to make, is that the thing you have to watch out for is they are going to use your own proclivities, your own desire for number go up, or to I want to retire, so I'm going to do this thing. Everybody's doing it. We're making tons of money. They are going to use that against you to attack you and to attack crypto. That's what they do. That's what they will continue to do. And I do think that you can look at why was Satoshi anonymous? Because he wanted cash. Why is Saylor doxxed? Because he worked for them, right? It doesn't matter that he's doxxed until it matters. When we all stop taking it. And at some point too, you have to think all of this stuff is happening because the power of this technology is radical. This has never existed in human history, the ability to do some of these things, and we just need to use it to do good. We don't need to reinvent the banking system and how to best use usury on the public. It's like, no, we need to do it so that people can do real things, and not even just financial. So anyway, that was a great question.
Under collateralized loans should not be our priority.
Yes.
Are you saying? So are you saying that I should just go to Michael Saylor's house right now and knock on the door for reasons?
No, I wouldn't do that. I mean, I guarantee he has like Fed protection of some type, right? He has to, right?
I'm sure. I'm sure he does.
Also, not that I would say you should do that anyway. I'm just saying he is not a trustworthy.
I just wanted to have a consensual encounter with him and just have a discussion about why he's wrong.
Nothing wrong with there. You meet him at the coffee shop or something.
Consensual encounter, that has other connotations, man.
Yep.
Exactly.
Okay, next question.
Real quick, we're what, 36 minutes in, and we've answered one question.
Yeah,
so I think we all need to be
good.
quick.
That was great, though.
It was an awesome question.
All right.
It was.
From Dayrox. Question. Having a large number of tokens leads to centralization. Cardano has a problem with this in its governance model. Cardano Foundation has so much ADA that it can push decisions. Is it possible to introduce percentage limits on token holdings? I would add that, in my opinion, the most equitable distribution is in good meme tokens, which is pretty interesting, right? On First Ledger, XRP meme coins platform, users are warned if the top holder controls more than 25% of the tokens. Can you ban or penalize possession of too many tokens? Translated DeFi, free version.
I think that this basically is a market question, because that's literally, if you're into meme coins, that there's like 5 check marks to what are red flags. The first one is, does the team own more than 15% of the total supply? So I think it doesn't. It's just let the market, do its thing. If you create anything, and the team holds more than 25%, then it will fail. And when that happens, then they won't do that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna piggyback on that one and say you're exactly right, Sean. It comes to supply and demand. So the more supply that you have, the lower the demand for the rest of the market. So the more so then you're distinguishable towards a small pool of people that hold that supply. And so what are you going to do with that? Now you got to figure out a way of how to gain the access to the demand that you've lost.
Yep. What do you think, Lisa?
I don't know, because I think some of these people are not real honest about it. I mean, like, you might think that the team has so many, but then how do you know? Because they could create as many wallets as they want, or they could have, somebody else has a wallet. That could be a team member, but they don't identify as a team member. I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know how you'd.
I am where I am.
It's a great question, because if the Cardano Foundation was doing everything that was very popular, and the market was showing that it was the number 2 or number 1 largest market cap in the world, then people wouldn't question its governance model. They wouldn't question that it a few people own the majority of the coins or tokens. But when a project struggles, this is one of the first things that gets called out, which really boils down to leadership. Having said that, XRP and others, one of the concerns is who owns the majority, and are they going to dump on your head and dump the price and sell out, or is there going to be a disruption in that price model because maybe the team is forking internally what they think the coin should do or become, or what should be the next implementation, what it should be, and there's disgruntlement inside the team, and then some of the team members leave and dump their coins on you. So those are the dangers of having a coin or a token that is highly decentralized. I like it that the meme model where a lot of them were just putting out 100% of the coins at the very first day, and so there's nothing held back by the owners. But that is a little, that's not true in some sense, because they know when it's going to be put out there, and so they're the first ones to go in and buy up a bunch of shares or buy up a bunch of tokens, coins, whatever, and get the head start on the market. So
it's never really
buyer beware of these types of things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. I would have to add the thing that you can do is not just penalize possession of too many tokens, right? If they wanted to properly design their governance, they could do 1,000,001 things. There's some really neat stuff. Like, for example, consider this. Let's suppose that every decision is actually made by one randomly selected token holder. So everybody gets a vote. Only one of those votes count. And nobody knows who that's going to be until a certain percentage of the tokens have actually been committed to vote, right? That's one way you could do it. You could also just say, like, your voting power rolls off on some kind of decay algorithm. Like, you could use a Fibonacci sequence and have it so that as you get more tokens, it takes more tokens to increase your voting power.
Yes. I like that.
And that's a great way.
By the way,
I wish Tether worked that way.
By the way, in combination, that's the other thing too, that there was, for example, and this doesn't relate to governance, but it does relate to block creation itself. That in the early days of the fork wars, there was a proposal that I almost plugged into Dragon Chain because I think it's brilliant, which was that your proof algorithm will change every block in a deterministic way. That when the block is created, the block hash dictates which of the 4 or 5 algorithms gets used. So in one case, it's like, holy shit, my miner's optimized for this one. Boom, I'm going to go. And in another case, you're like, yeah, I'm not going to spend any time on it. It would be brilliant awesome. Because I don't know, the security is better. The diversity of the algorithms is better for risk, right? But anyway, the other thing
like
is
a
behavior.
5x multiplier on how difficult it is to cheat the blockchain.
Right, exactly. It would be amazing. And it would help decentralization, frankly, because you wouldn't. You could put script in. You could put, you could leverage a whole bunch of really neat things. But related to this. And I have an article on Cointelegraph from like 2 years ago, but it's one of the big ones, and it piggybacks much on what the rest of you said, that behavior, though, is a huge potential factor to solve this. We use it in Den.DAO. We use it in a few other systems that not just your crypto holdings or staking or liquidity matter. Those can be used, and they are powerful for the measurable economics of what it would take to attack a network. But you also have to come in. So you have to put your money in. If you want to take over Den.DAO, for example, you have to put your money in and get enough positioning with the tokens. But then you also have to come in and do all the things that the system wants you to do. And it makes it a really hard attack, because essentially you have to put your money up and you have to come and do all the things that Den wants you to do. So you're very unlikely to risk all your money and do all the work for us to attack on any given vote. So it's a super interesting thing, and you can model it all different ways. And
right. Well, I mean, and in circumstances like Dragon Chain, it actually kind of makes sense to give people who participate more voting power. That's another interesting angle on this. Sometimes it actually makes sense to let the people who amass the most have more.
It depends. Like you could segment it too. Like economic decisions maybe go to the people with the economics, and the more of cultural things go to the people who are doing things. You could do things like that, and it totally depends on the culture and the goals of whatever the network or organization is. in my opinion, that is what blockchain does that is unique in the world. It isn't just cash and financials. I mean, that was first application. That's brilliant. One of the hardest problems ever. But the fact that you can use this to create a voluntary way for people to do things where they get directly rewarded, and there's no middleman or someone to play favorites. Is like, oh, I like what Ben did instead of what Jim did, and it's like there's none of that. They know when they do something how it's scored and how they'll how they will benefit. So it's really important.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see.
I'm
here.
personally a fan of Let a Thousand Flowers Bloom. Right. If we can try every possible solution, then the one that's the best will win.
Yep.
If we stick to the same models, we won't. This is why I'm a fan of autocratic monarchy.
Yep. Right on. Legacy Zach, double dipping with a question. Very good today. In light of Argentina deciding to go hard against criminals using the blockchain, what are your thoughts on what this means for the community as a whole, and what does this prove? And does this prove that governments are in overdrive to consolidate their power? And here I am gonna open this up, and we will look at this article. So we want to start with let's start with Greg this time. Go up the chain.
All right. My thinking on this is silly, right? This is absolutely silly, because if you're talking about eliminating corruption in any kind of financial system, then you're not talking about crypto. The scale of it's just not there, right? If you want to really make an impact on financial crime, go after derivatives markets, but they're not, right? Amazing that they're focusing on pretending like there are criminals in crypto sufficient to make this worth a focused effort. Yeah, and that's just not true. So they can waste all the money they want on what they consider good PR, but that anybody thinks that governments are up to any kind of good anymore is really not true as well. So have at it with your smear campaign approach, because it's just not working.
Sean.
Well, I would like to read the article. Does that mean that they're going to put a focus on hackers and scammers?
Yes.
And that kind of thing? Yeah.
Yes.
That needs to be, kind of dealt with, especially in the countries, that it's very prominent in. I mean, we all know there's certain countries where it's much more prominent, and the scammers are coming out of. So that is cool. But like Greg said, when you look at the overall, it's fiat that's used in crimes. Yeah. Like I always make the joke in the movie, Blow, there wasn't stacks of USBs and ledgers. There's stacks of cash all over the house. You know what I mean? It's obvious. But I think, like, I had gotten hacked years ago, but it was a lot of money. It was like detrimental. It was huge. It was a Crypto.com account. Crypto.com was really brand new. Personally, I think it was inside job. It's my opinion, because there's not much else that could have been. But like, I felt there was nothing I could do. This was years ago. Like, if I called the police and I'd have to explain what it is and how crypto works, and then they're like, well, how do we even look into that? My ex-father-in-law, he was a state trooper, and he came home one day from work, and he was weirded out because he got called to this guy's ranch. He hates snakes, by the way. And this guy's like, yeah, I need to report a burglary and crime. He's like, okay, what is it? And he pulls this cover off of a hole, and it's a giant pit of rattlesnakes. And he's like, he said, oh, he had like 10 pits of rattlesnakes, and he was looking for venom, and he sold it to the pharmaceutical industry. And he goes like, yeah, they got a whole pit of my snakes. And he was like, well, how do I write this up? How do I start this investigation? He goes, it was like $25,000 worth of snakes. You know, he's like, that's what I had to, what it cost me to get them. And, you know, to this farmer, it was like obvious. This is my income. This is my value. This is what these things cost. But to a lay person and to him, he's like, I don't know how much these are worth. I don't know that you can, they're wild animals. I don't know if you can even say that you own them. You know, it's like, it was such a weird thing. And that's how I felt when I got my hacked, you know, 6 years ago.
Did you just make an analogy between crypto and snakes? Is like crypto is like kind of like snakes that cops don't know.
It was something that I would have to explain it, and then they'd be like, I don't know how to, because it's like it was the Beanie Babies time. You know, it was back when crypto was Beanie Babies. But that's what it was compared to. I'd have to literally be like,
right, but you could still get the notional value of snakes compensated, right? Like at a minimum, they have to be worth some kind of like fiat amount on the open market.
That's
plus there's the idea of like now you've got people doing this as an industry, and
also was this one of the snake
this is like the
creatures?
setup for a Cobra effect. We can't let this guy down because if he quits, then he's just going to turn all the snakes loose.
Obviously had some kind of value because somebody went and did the dangerous job of stealing a pit full of freaking rattlesnakes.
It could have been an insurance scam, Sean. That's my. I think
probably was
scam. Yeah, it's kind of.
It might have been.
All the years, I never thought of that.
I forgot to cover
I never
one.
thought of that. Just take them out, put them in a different pit.
Yep.
And then be like,
that's
hey,
a different pit. Those are. Zach.
I want to hear all of y'all's thoughts, but if you want to hear mine, everybody that's viewing, head to the Legacy. I'm plugging at this point. Head to the Legacy Ride. hit the subscribe. But listen to Legacy News episode 6 if you want to hear me and my co-host Andrew's take on this. So, but I want to hear all of y'all. So I'm gonna pass on this one.
All right, Lisa.
Oh man, that's kind of dicey because then the guy who does the question, you're like, so I don't know. I think it can kind of go both ways. Like we don't want regulation or we want free markets, and this kind of gets into that. You know, are we asking for permission again? And the whole thing about like, oh, are they going to look at it as, you know, accredited investors? You're not smart enough, you know, we're protecting you from a scam, you know, that kind of. You know, oh, it's the Patriot Act, but for crypto, you know, I don't know. I think it can be a really slippery slope.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and just to toss one last thing in, as I read the article, the phrasing they use is really Orwellian, right? Like they've got this unauthorized intermediation.
Yeah.
That's code for somebody was debanked, and we don't want them to be able to access banking services surreptitiously. This
Sorry,
is what they consider
Kanye.
financial crime.
Right on.
We blacklisted you, and you didn't pay attention.
William, what do you think?
You know what? I think the power of the free market is powerful, and it's much more powerful than even a central government, in my opinion. This is a blockchain show, and if rankings and ratings and this kind of thing was posted to a blockchain, validated, verified, like Den.Social, wisdom of the crowd, incentive behaviors, that it's factual, you know, someone posted, you know, that this is a scam and others have agreed, and that becomes a consensus, then people have a place to go to that is a trusted source to prevent people from being scammed. Having said that, P.T. Barnum said a sucker's born every minute. And there will be those suckers. They're unfortunate. It's wild, wild west times in crypto, but it's not just in crypto. It's even in the big financial worlds on Wall Street. You know, there's a sucker born there too. So my feeling is when people get burned, they are quick to talk about it. They want to know why and how, and they learn. And usually it prevents it the second time or third time, hopefully. And so that's where I'm going to side with that. I'm not going to side with the government that's going to try to take advantage of. Here's an opportunity for us to get more legislation, like Lisa says, more regulation.
History rhymes. History rhymes. That's
you know,
all.
and one of the I remember in very, very early days when we were first starting to look at Bitcoin in the small company that I was in, and we were building stuff and doing stuff. The FBI put out a report on Bitcoin, and it was super interesting because we were like, the entire thing, if you replace Bitcoin with the word US dollar cash, it would apply and be more accurate than what it was. It was trying to claim that there was, you know, crime going on and stuff, but it was all like, wait, that's not, no, even back then, you had Silk Road, I guess, but you really didn't have much going on as a segment. But I would say, I'm going to make a prediction. Trump's going to come in, right? Now, hopefully we get some good things. And I really am hopeful that things like the capital gains tax on US based crypto comes through. That would be remarkable. I really hope that, they essentially instruct the SEC that they don't have the right to regulate software, right? Let alone math, right? And I hope that a lot of the lawmakers realize that you cannot legislate math. Math is math. It's something that we discovered. It's a real thing. And
it's also speech, right? Isn't code?
Yes, it's speech. It's First Amendment.
Freedom of
We already know software is protected under the First Amendment. That's already
right.
That's been decided, and this is software, and yet we're still fighting against it for years now, right? So my prediction, this is the important thing. They're going to come in, and we're going to have a bill that I am going. This is the prediction part of it. It's going to be called the Number Go Up bill, and it's literally going to be supported by all Bitcoin maximalists. Everybody who yells, anybody who on the daily wears red or yellow pants. Bitcoin maximalists, those guys are all going to support this bill, and it's going to be full of surveillance, and it's going to say Bitcoin only. Everything else is shitcoin and illegal. Math is illegal unless it's attached to Bitcoin. That's what's coming, but it's going to be called the Number Go Up bill, and I think that's going to be the reason that it passes. Right? It's going to be our Patriot Act, right? So anyway,
I think one of the biggest kind of lessons we've learned is. Like I Am said, you can call it a market, you can call it, whatever, but the people have become so powerful that every politician was kissing our ass. Trump was like, "Hello, Bitcoin, yes, I love you, yes." Everyone who wanted that power was coming to the Bitcoin conference and kissing our ass. And because it's literally one of the there's nothing left in the legacy power structure. Even the legacy media says, "Hey, man, we're not what we were." All of the unions backed the losing side because the union members didn't back the unions. So it's not even a real thing now. So the heads of these unions can say, "Hey, we're behind this person," but literally it's just those people, because the union members don't give a shit anymore. They're deciding for themselves because of the market, basically.
How much do you think, though, that isn't lobbies from Fidelity and BlackRock who are making money off of selling paper Bitcoin now, though? I mean, is it real? Does it matter? I mean, it's useful. We can leverage it a little bit, but you have to be careful because who knows if we'll get what we think we're going to get out of that, right?
But if, like you said, if we get Ross pardoned, if all of these things happen, if things start to change, that's because of the community. That's because of the market. That's just, my opinion. But if things start to happen, like you said, you hope, it's basically like you said, or like I Am said, the market is what pushed it. The market in this case is, just the people.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
It's true.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go next. I Am. I'm gonna go ahead and vote up. Sorry. You have to wait for me to vote stuff up.
It's got a typo. I had too much wine last night when I wrote this.
Well, all the better. All right. Question: can you
Such as the
give
Emperor's Lord, the
examples
Caprice.
of how major cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Ethereum are either decentralized, or showing signs of centralization? Can you also give examples that you think a cryptocurrency is truly decentralized? I'll go real quick because this is kind of a like a old question. I mean, there are various angles that you could call Bitcoin fairly well centralized because there are gigantic warehouses in China that mine it. And if those were taken out, it would be a huge hit on the network. Not to mention if a government wanted to do something about it. And some of the design kind of leads that way. Ethereum, I haven't paid a lot of attention recently to what the staking did to centralization or decentralization, but I don't know. Nothing is perfect, and I think though having all of these different chains is important for decentralization. That if you're only going to use one, you're going to be at risk that it might be more decentralized than you actually realize. Whereas if you are using multiple, then the algorithms themselves make it a little more safe. So anyway, William.
Really good point.
I think Bitcoin Core proves, and the hijacking of Bitcoin and the fork wars kind of shows it's a little bit more centralized. I'll piggyback on what Joe said, that the central mining, or shall we say, the large mining pools that exist specifically in China could be, if they were to be shut down, Bitcoin's still not going to go to zero. There'll still be other people that are going to step up and mine, or switch their miners towards Bitcoin where they were mining something else. So I'm not too worried about that. Ethereum, I have to agree with you, Joe. There's some real strong questions there. It could be more centralized after the change, but who knows? I haven't followed it that much just because I'm just kind of bittersweet on Ethereum because of the fees, on transaction fees. As far as other coins, tokens that could be decentralized, I'm gonna I kind of like Monero and Xano because they're privacy based, Zcash privacy based, Litecoin, BCH because they have a privacy factor, and for me that privacy factor means decentralization in some form. And last point, I guess, on that same note is, don't become a maximalist to any one coin. Diversify, not financial advice, but I would recommend that in some way, only because if the CBDCs happen, like Aaron Day says, or we're already in there and they start ratcheting it down, we're going to need multiple avenues, multiple tools on our tool belt, multiple cryptocurrencies.
Right. You need to be able to scatter in every direction if you want to be able to scatter at all.
Yep. Lisa.
So I concur with you guys about Bitcoin. I would just add to it, I would consider throwing the hat there. The Satoshi's wallet might be a point of centralization, additional, and also the ETF.
Yes.
There,
that's
additional points of centralization for Bitcoin. And then as far as decentralization, I would look into Litecoin. People give Charlie Lee shit for selling at the top, but that actually made Litecoin more decentralized. And so now there's not a Satoshi wallet for Litecoin.
And it's important to note, and people don't talk about it as much anymore, but like say Litecoin from the beginning had a different proof algorithm, which was better than just having a clone of Bitcoin with different numbers. It was actually a different algorithm, which is important for that. So,
great.
Yeah.
Good to know. Thanks.
Zach.
Selling at the top actually sounds like a real live situation of trickle down economics, honestly, that we've never really seen. So I like that. I like that idea. But I mean, I would say for a decentralization factor, diversify. I mean, and then gravitate towards more privacy factor coins like BCH, the real Bitcoin, and Xano, Monero, Zcash. I mean, and then as far as like Bitcoin and Ethereum, I always mess that up. Is it Ethereum or Ethereum?
Ethereum is
ETH.
what you would say.
Ethereum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ethereum. But as far as their signs of centralization, I mean, Bitcoin, it's become digital gold. So there's your factor right there. I mean, if you hold it as gold, it's going to have to be in like an inclusion with some other commodity or asset, which in this case would be like the dollar. So numbers go up type of individual is really just watching the gold value go up and then so that they can sell later on in fiat. So, I mean, there's a control factor right there. So as far as ETH,
Yeah.
I don't really have an opinion. I like the factor that you can actually break down through other exchanges and other tokens, such as like Zeno, um, and still utilize ETH. Plus, the transaction fees are a little bit less than obviously Bitcoin. So, diversification if you want to stay decentralized. Competition. That's what we need.
Sean.
Yeah, I think you guys have hit everything. You know, I think maximalization has hurt everything. I think the rollback was a real big black eye for Ethereum. I think privacy does need to be is a big part of decentralization, like IAM said. Cryptocurrency. Yeah, I think any cryptocurrency that has any focus on privacy is a good example of what decentralization, decentralized cryptocurrency is.
Yep. Greg.
So two things. I'm going to say one, is it open source, right? Because open source is a really big factor in anything being properly decentralized, right? Because you can only trust anything as far as you can check the code base, or somebody who you trust can check the code base if you're not going to learn how to do that yourself, but you want to have some assurance, right? The second thing, and really the big thing for me, and this is near and dear to my heart because we're working on solving this problem, all of them are right now too centralized for comfort. And this is because the infrastructure stacks are still running on AWS and was it Baidu in China? Is that the one that does most of their hosting? Right. These systems, so long as they are running on infrastructure that can be stopped with a cease and desist letter for the most part, you're setting yourself up for ultimately a crackdown if they really want to. Now, we're working on DIN, which is Decentralized Infrastructure Network, and we're already starting to think about expanding the protocol out so that it can support other kinds of infrastructure than just nodes, right? Like one of the things we're looking into is decentralized Bitcoin capacity, right? Like that's not something where you need to separately host a whole bunch of nodes in order to make it run. Maybe that's changing now that they're implementing some smart contract like functionality, but
Are they?
but they could still have decentralized access to mining hardware, for example. Things like this could make it so that we would have sort of no ability of the people at the very top to get fed up with what it's doing and issue orders for men with guns that would be effective. And I think that's really the key. We're not really there yet, but we're close. And once we are, you're going to really see some of this power get unlocked.
Yes. Andrew.
I'll start with Bitcoin Core first. I remember, I'm not sure how many years ago, it was several years ago, there was a conference that I think Bob Murphy, the economist, was talking about Bitcoin and mining, and they were concerned about how centralized the mining had become. And that makes me think, no, I haven't got a chance to look into it, but just some kind of layer like they did with Zano. I just started learning about Zano, so you have to forgive me. But I could see how maybe they might have a privacy layer for mining and distribute it amongst the different blockchains as a mechanism to try to force decentralization. This is just, me pitching that theory. Another thing that if you think about Ethereum, I think it started with the Dow hack that just started it on a landslide of centralization because of that
Yep.
visceral reaction. Is, oh my God, we're losing all this money we just invested, and it from that point forward, it just basically, I'm not saying it doomed the chain, but it's
Well, ETH Classic is still
substantially compromised. Yeah,
ETH Classic is
yeah,
the
but
is the real ETH.
it's had 51% attack as well.
Yep.
Well, and
So
we actually worked on helping them address that. So
I mean,
luckily,
if I were
it's not happening
Ethereum
again.
Classic, it should their tagline should be ETH with honor. That's that the whole thing would be is like we actually tell the truth. We actually stick to our guns. We actually do what we say we're going to do. Like,
Quit drinking the new
they,
Coke, damn it.
They don't have
Classic.
some VC that probably lobbied incessantly for days until Vitalik finally said, okay, we'll fork it. You know, that's how centralized. That's how decentralized Ethereum is and was, right? So,
another thing, to go back to that confidential layer type for mining. There was a report. I know this is all kind of outdated, but they were able to filter Bitcoin transactions on the mining level, which I think is a very dangerous thing in the long run if they're able to keep building on that kind of activity. So we need something as like just to forcefully divert the mining process to at least break that centralization up a little bit. Let alone everything is happening with the.
So
it's a really good point, though. I do have to probably point out that that they have seen market competition push the nodes that will censor down in percentage pretty dramatically. Where that was originally a problem where they exploded. They did the markets responded by pushing back.
Yeah,
so
I like. It's almost it's almost obvious too. It's like, oh, I could censor and follow, toe the line, or I can make money. They're going to make money, and it's awesome. That's a beautiful, effective market, right? Of real free market stuff. When that gets applied, and it's like, sure, you could censor blocks you don't like from people you don't want to support.
Yeah.
But guess what? Nobody else will. So
your mining pool
have
is going to be pissed eventually if you keep it up.
Speaking of which, this meme that is displayed is super interesting. So take it for what it's worth, whatever you want to take out of it. But economic left and authoritarian agrees with economic right and libertarian that in terms of how much sawdust can you put into a Rice Krispie before people notice, and that's an okay thing, versus libertarian left and authoritarian right are more on the side of let's just kill the bankers. I love this meme. This is a beautiful meme. It's so interesting.
I don't think they're being fair to the libertarian right.
I don't know. I mean, libertarian right. I think he's like, oh yeah, do whatever you want to do as long as people don't notice and care. It's like it's free, whatever. But I don't know. I have moved very much from libertarian right to authoritarian right, by the way. So anyway, that's the world as it is. Here, let's see here. I'm going to go back.
If you go off the map, there's like another faction of libertarian right that you would call anarcho-capitalist, and those of us who are that are more in line.
That's what I used to consider, at least consider as something worth approaching. But I just think here's the thing, and this is for another time probably. The higher level of it, the thing that I didn't quite recognize back when I really kind of went that way, and all you agorists probably hate me for this, but the fact that I think it gives there's an attack vector which wholly goes around your liberty, which is that it makes it easier to manipulate those of us who just want liberty. And I think in the end, you need something.
But then if you have authoritarian power structures, you create the systems that ultimately self-defeat.
I don't know. I think it's an ebb and flow.
I think you got to change the term capitalist and capitalism now. Right. I think it's been hijacked or it's been changed. Like if I said, "Man, I'm so gay. I'm gay."
Don't get me started on this.
Every single person here would think it means one thing, where literally it used to mean something else.
Yeah,
free market.
That's all it means. So I could go round for round on this one, considering that capitalism
is just you need to say free markets.
Yeah,
Except for
that I
bad
agree.
framing for
Yeah,
a
I
statement.
think that's been manipulated too, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
yeah.
I actually will I will say, like, I can go round and round. Like, capitalism in its heyday never really was a term for anything, and until after Marx. I will say that until I'm blue in the face, because capitalism is literally just, it's just another term for the
It's a
bourgeoisie.
word you use if you
So,
accept that they went ahead and begged the question about the labor theory of
yeah.
value.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't
Yep,
like that term
exactly.
very much. Okay, next question from I Am for I Am. Is there a future where the internet itself could become more decentralized through blockchain technologies? And what about search engines? So let's start with Andrew on this one.
I definitely could see, just at the base layer, them trying to use a blockchain technology, but how they would implement that, I couldn't give you an honest answer because there's so many different, interpretations of blockchain.
Oh,
You,
did you
you
say
muted.
Greg, or you're on mute?
Yeah, I think he said Greg.
Oh, sorry, Greg.
Okay.
Sorry.
His lip
Yeah,
said
I
Greg.
thought I saw you say Greg.
Yeah.
I'll talk anyway. How about that? Let's see. Yes, there is a future where this happens, though it can't be done with just blockchain technology, right? We need several different kinds of infrastructure. Blockchains are, for example, really terrible at hosting a lot of content, at least in the formulation where they're also peer-to-peer and decentralized in terms of how they reach consensus. So what you really need to have is that, and you need to have decentralized file hosting, and you need to have decentralized compute. So when I say compute, I mean like the capacity to execute
Remote
certain
code.
kinds of remote code, so that like a server side application can do stuff. And you can entangle that with blockchains, right? Because they provide the financial incentives necessary to, to reward people in a decentralized ecosystem for other kinds of infrastructure. But ultimately, you couldn't do it just by itself. You have to have it to do it, but it's necessary but not sufficient.
very, very good, Sean. Sean. What do you think?
You're on mute, I think.
Ooh, and search engines, same kind of thing, right? That's the decentralized compute.
Sean's busy. Sean.
I'm good. I think it goes back to what we've been talking about the whole time, where the market has changed things. Now, when people want to look something up, they go to AI, and AI scours all different. They trust it more than they trust Google, and Google has become that thing, like me, at least we're talking about, where a brand has taken over what a thing is, like Band-Aid. That's a brand. It's not an actual thing. Saran wrap. That's a brand. It's not what that actually is. And Google means to research or look something up. And now people are starting to go to different AI models to look stuff up because it's a broader search. They don't trust it. People don't trust the legacy media. People don't trust legacy anything. And the internet's been around for a while. Google is a legacy search engine. So I think that, yes, people are hungry and want something with a good reputation. That's another thing we haven't really talked about, is these reputation models, and how important that is to things that we create. So I think that this definitely there has to be something more decentralized, and blockchain would be a great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To add on to that, Sean, too, I think a lot of the important stuff is in also open sourcing the algorithms, right? If you don't have an open source algorithm, then nobody can really trust it. And you see this with Google. Obviously, if you want to find out what Google's leaving out, you can just go to Yandex, the Russian search engine, and search for the same thing. And what you'll get is all the results that are anti-regime. And you can sort of add those to the ones that are pro-regime that come back automatically anytime you search something on Google, right? But the other problem with Google is DuckDuckGo uses them as a basis for their algorithm, and so many others, right? And that's just such a big problem with it, that search is going to be a tough nut to crack, because if all of them are censored, It doesn't matter which one AI uses, you know?
Yep. Zach.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. If all of them are censored, it doesn't matter, because they are all interlinked. But as far as like the internet being decentralized in itself, we still are relatively decentralized on the what is termed the dark web. So I think the idea of what blockchain technology can do is combat the overts or the regime's fight to consolidate and centralize, um, by promoting, as William has stated, the wisdom of the crowd. So it's always about reputation, and that's what we need to try to translate to the internet factor and the search engines is, what do people want? But at the same time, do we trust what most people want when we've been manipulated for all these decades when it comes to like Google and their coding and their AI algorithms and all that? So we're going to have to fix our own thinking as individuals and in our own communities before we can actually get to that level of the true decentralized internet sources.
Right on.
Speaking of decentralization, Gazoo just said something about goldbacks. Goldbacks and silverbacks are neat, but they're not realistic. So I mean, I bought some. My dog ate them. The goldbacks I bought. Okay, so they're not realistic. But Texas just passed a law where they're going to make gold and silver legal tender that needs to be accepted. So we're looking at
just repeal the damn legal tender law.
But we're looking at making a new currency for Texas, like a silver coin that's worth $5.
You're trying to protect yourself against the end that you brought upon us all with
the red heifers.
Yes. Red heifers. I think
that is true. Yeah, I think that is. But I think
will fault you forever, and for the freaking the pirate dude that you guys elected. Why'd you guys vote for him?
Yeah, Dan Crenshaw.
I got a question about the pirate. Is he is he a puppet for Israel, or is he a sex doll for Israel?
Yeah.
I don't know, but he's
a disappointment.
He's a disappointment. I'll tell you that.
I blame Texas. Just always remember that. I will never.
I think you've talked about
Texas.
States having their own different currency and interacting with other states, and then with even city states having their own currency.
You threw us out of order though, Sean.
So
I think it's Lisa's turn.
Decentralization is coming.
Sorry. All right, Lisa, what's up?
Yeah, I have a story for that when we get to hot topics as well. But for this question, I like what the direction Zach was going, because the question talks about, could we become more, or could the internet become more decentralized using blockchain and the search engines? And so, like, if you had something like Den.Social where people are contributing, so there's new content on a blockchain, so a truth mechanism, and a reward system for behavior, and then the search engine like pre-search, so melding the two together, then that would be something that improves the use case and betters humanity.
Yep.
Also, it depends on what you put in. This is actually kind of interesting. So Lisa we talked about on the show on Tuesday. Lisa said that the eagle was not the official bird of the United States, and I said I distinctly remember.
It's not yet.
I distinctly remember a big in second grade, a big deal learning about the argument in Congress about because Franklin wanted it to be a turkey. It was a noble bird, and blah blah blah, and they decided that the eagle was the official bird of the United States. And then Lisa's like, yeah, I remember that too. But when we put it in, and she put it in by law to Grok, and Grok said it was like 1778 that it was picked. And then she typed it in a different way, and it said, oh no, it was 2024. But
it hasn't passed. Joe hasn't signed it yet. It just this week passed through
culturally, though,
in July in the Senate, and just this week in the House.
Culturally, though, right? It's always been, right?
No, it hasn't always been.
I mean, it's
Well,
what
yeah,
people
no,
think
you're right.
of when they
Culturally,
think of
it's
the-
always been, yeah.
Well,
Culturally, yes.
but not by law.
Legislatively, as a law, no.
No.
Right.
Symbolically, yes, but
It never passed that I was supposed
Technically,
to
those
worship the eagle.
resolutions they used to
No.
define this stuff aren't really aren't
Wait a
really
minute.
carrying the force.
I-
of law
I-
Anyway, but
anyway.
once again, we are off topic.
This bald eagle for my entire
And
life.
we're
What
talking
happened?
about,
Was I lied to? William,
yes, you were lied to once by your government.
what caused Sean to bring that up? By the way, okay. Anyway,
Decentralized search engines. I was talking about how we searched it in Grok because she didn't want to Google it. So we used AI and we got different answers. And then it's not really decentralized
No,
because it's whatever you put in and program the AI to do is what it's going to tell you. We've learned that many times.
Yep.
Well, and it's even worse than that because you probability thrown in there, right? These are all
Zeus had the
probabilistic
golden eagle as his mascot, right?
See, that's how we get off topic. You're
right.
talking about Zeus. There we go.
I'm all.
I was talking about search engines. Okay.
I consider all this on topic.
I'm waiting for William to give his answer, and he's holding back.
You know what? I'm gonna say that the dream. I have a dream that one day we will have an internet that'll be completely decentralized, but it would go further than that. It would actually be the access, because the ISPs is kind of a firewall, and that's a critical point where accessing the internet becomes more centralized in a way, because there's fewer ISPs. It's easier to control who can get on the internet to look. Then the next firewall is certainly the search engines. What can you see when you search? And by far, most people use Google, and Google, has shrunk over and over. It'll show you like 15,000 results, but you can't go through page to page to page and see all 15,000 results. They just show you what they want to see, and then they keep repeating it in a different order and wording it just a little bit differently, but it's the same source that you're
and no matter how many times you click the expand to show me all the ones you excluded, they're the same. It doesn't actually do it anymore.
So that's where in a way the centralization is happening.
No different with AI. I think
to look at a different way of
AI is a better funnel for the same thing, right? That it's going to be very easy.
They do have open source algos for a lot of the highest performing ones, so it's a little different.
Maybe, but I mean, do you know what it's trained with? I mean, the algorithm might be great, but you don't know how it's trained.
Well, you actually do. If you go on a platform called Hugging Face, you can see all of the training checkpoints. It's actually a lot.
If they're
more
being
open
honest,
than
right?
Search ever was. Well, I mean,
do you think Sam Altman is an honest person?
You can download and run the code yourself. So I'm not talking
Raise
about
your
Sam
hand.
Altman.
I know.
Sam Altman can suck.
Personally, he might be. I mean,
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't
know. Maybe with his family.
I'm going to say the congressional hearing
real quick. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Okay, no, I'm going to say real quick. This is interesting.
Where people should go if they want to experience real AI.
Could the internet itself become more decentralized? And it's supposed to be decentralized, but it really, really isn't. Right? They funneled it up through, and they're all places. And ideally, you would get your own multiple local ISPs plus Starlink. You'd have accounts on all of them. Now you have the ability to really, when one of them gets shut down, you can do the other. And Starlink is a pretty good one for that, but it's very decentralized too, right?
Well, actually, to be fair, the internet was developed by the government, so
right. Well, we put this out. Gosh, would have been 2016, maybe 15? No, 2016. That and this was from W3C about what should be included in standardization related to the internet itself. And, some of those things were related to payments. They should, by now, have had better direct, protocols in standardized in without doing a Web3 wallet plugin on your browser. So this stuff has been around for a while. Guess what? Nobody gives a shit. They actually don't care unless they can control it and make money off of it. But whatever.
These are
Hopefully
like pirate codes, right? They're guidelines.
Yeah, and it was we offered it up. It's like, hey, we were on the what do you call it, the working group or whatever back then. So, it was an interesting exercise. We did get some good ideas, but anyway.
The ISP question, man. Imagine a DAO buys a satellite assembler, puts the thing in orbit, and it just starts harvesting space junk and shooting out internet relays. That to me is
awesome.
where the magic happens.
Okay, last question. Last question. Hear me voted up from I am Pram. How do you balance the need for scalability with the principles of decentralization in blockchain networks? Can I answer first, or should I answer last?
Or I was going to say, let's just skip it and go on to current events. We've kind of covered current events, but
this one's important. This one is it's like it needs to be per case. You can't say Bitcoin's the only way because it's properly decentralized. It's like that's bullshit. It depends on what you're using it for, and some things require not as much centralization, and some things require more centralization, in fact, because of scalability or because of privacy or whatever else. And you want to be able to apply, and that's what Dragon Chain wanted, is the ability to say, I can have centralized content, centralized data, because it needs to be protected or because it needs to be scalable, yet all of that data needs to have some proof point that is decentralized as in a scalable way as possible. Right. It's case by case.
By saying that, though, you're going against any kind of ism, as far as
yes.
Maximalism.
I will.
Really arguing there needs to be
weigh in with Ferris Bueller on that.
Yeah, there's got to be more than one. That's the whole point of it.
Yep. Right on. On. Okay, so anybody want to answer that beyond that?
Yeah.
Or
go straight to. I gotta throw in because I think the question's framed. I don't think in a way that's meant to say like this is the right way to frame the question. How do you balance the need for scalability with the need for decentralization? You balance it by considering what is functionally decentralized, right? For your purposes.
Yep.
And to do that too, right? You also have to recognize that the trilemma that people think about when they think about blockchains is actually fading a bit, right? We're also developing stronger, vaster, better computers, and as time passes, the compromise will no longer need to be. It's just we have to build the systems in a way that support a future where where throughput can be a matter of how many processes you put on it, as opposed to how you frame the algorithms, because that will happen, right? So short run balance, long run it should be superfluous if we've done it right.
Very good. Anybody else?
I'm gonna do a shout out real quick. There's a work about this called the Ethics of Money Production. It's extremely detailed, extremely long, but it's very effective to look into if you're interested in more in this topic.
Right on. Okay, we will. Let's see here. Let's go to current events. I have a list here, right? Should I go through the list, or should we just go through them one at a time?
Go through the list.
Okay, so I have first up the drones, and an interesting post on 4chan regarding Austin
drones, man.
And in May, and nuclear materials or something there.
Still trying
continuing resolution, as they call it, Congress, Musk, Vivek, the close down, awesome stuff. I also have Syria, the declaration that the Golan Heights is now Israel, and all the rest of that stuff. Argentina, crime on blockchain, we already covered that one. That's good. El Salvador dropping Bitcoin, and I've not heard any of the maximalists weigh in on that, including the short dude with the Metallica shirt. And Craig has disappeared, maybe on the lam, right?
Really?
Yeah, I just heard that this morning.
Craig, right? The fake Satoshi has disappeared?
Yeah, he didn't show up to some hearing or something. They think he might be on the lam.
He didn't sign the code like he said he would.
No,
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he didn't sign the blocks, or didn't sign with the keys he had.
Damn, I put up the bounty. I mean the bail money.
Oh no. Oh no. No, yeah, Willie.
Easy cleanup on that prediction.
Where do you want to hit? And is there anything I'm missing?
Wait. Liz Cheney criminal referral.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
yeah.
I haven't heard that.
That's cool.
Let's do that real quick.
Real quick. Didn't get it too.
Because we got a lot.
Well, I talked about that and researched it. There's also websites you can go to that monitor all nuclear activity in the world, which have been changed a lot in the past week because regular people started using those sites. So there was a container with nuclear waste that was broken into and it was stolen.
I just heard this too. Yep.
And so on the Sean Ryan show, there was also
What?
this lady who was a CIA target specialist that said the next homeland attack will be a dirty bomb, but they need something that's radioactive, blah, 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 but it won't be very big, which this lends credence to this. So a lot of people,
Right.
and that's the
People blame
thing,
Russia.
the military has said that the drones are not military, but they could still belong to like the EPA or the Nuclear Commission, whatever that one is, to be able to sniff out radioactive material to
The
try to
drones
find
are
this.
totally a freaking false flag.
Which
obviously.
my friend just right like 5 minutes ago sent me a message. They're here now in my town. She got video of the drones. But what's interesting is I posted something about just a thing about, it's weird how weeks ago the tinfoil hat people were talking about UFOs coming around soon, and now we have all these drones. And people were coming onto my post that I don't know, and we're like arguing for pro drones, and like, oh, it's just stupid, nothing to see here.
People
And
need
I'm
to
like,
remember
who
the
the fuck are
Canadian wolf
you?
howls, man.
But so she just posted that, and she sent me a message, and there's some guy that I don't know on hers. I fly my drones all the time in our area. Well, why do you people think it's something different? And I said, because it's the size of a vehicle. I said, it's a Suburban. I fly drones. And if I fly too close to Fort Hood, I'll be arrested by the end of the day.
Yeah.
My little drone, let alone if I put something in the sky
Dude,
that was
you
the size
can't,
of a
you can't fly
car,
one of those without registering.
I would
Challenger had
immediately
a
get
commercial
arrested.
about it, right? Yeah.
Just remember, Rand Paul said it was all good. Going after those,
Real quick, the thing I wanted to add about
gas station robbers.
Trust
about
me,
the
bro.
drones, like Greg said, obviously or near obviously false flag. They in fact had some dude from a 3-letter agency hotspot that declared, oh, it's this, and they're trying to say that they're searching for some type of nuclear radioactive leak or some contamination. Who knows what? I saw
didn't mean to
Different
either.
drones.
that was very similar. Who knows? Might be nothing, but very similar. In fact, I think I have it right here. Very similar to the pre. What do you call it? Gingivitis outbreak that somebody on 4chan warned. This is going to happen. That's going to happen, and don't take the vaccine. And all those things happened. This one, and you probably can't read it. It's too small. Apologies for that. But essentially, it's calling out that false flags to restrict movement related to some type of contamination by dirty bombs or something else, fake or not, that they're going to show lesions, like people with skin lesions and stuff like that. But the thing to note, the most important thing is that there is
this the new COVID?
Planned,
Yes.
yeah, that there is a planned event in May for as an exercise, for first responder exercise type thing in Austin. So I wanted to, we have Sean here who is in Austin, and be paying attention in May. You might want to, take a quick vacation or something. Who knows?
So,
anyway,
other thing about drones that people should remember is that the Teamsters unions probably paid very good money to put up this scare tactic, because they've been holding back the ability that we've had since 2016 to do drone deliveries, which would drop the cost of goods insane amounts, and also completely obviate the need for most last mile delivery services. This is to me just more bullshit to hold down the drone tech. Drone tech was the first blockchain tech.
Very interesting.
State suppressing it.
Revelations does say that.
First off, do you have a WordPad or a notepad you can pull up real quick there? Just that you put this up is very, very odd. Synagogue of Satan.
Okay. Are we gonna get banned now? I don't know.
Just put it up there real quick if you can. A notepad or WordPad so you can type something out.
Oh, you won't need to type. I'm not gonna put anything on notepad because I have too much stuff in there. Let's see here.
Just bring up a blank notepad and show it.
You can make a comment or a banner, Joe. Like
Bring up a notepad. And show it.
Sean could write it in private chat, and then you could write it in a
Here,
banner.
how about if I could do it in Grok? How about that?
There you go. Type it in.
Okay. What do you want
You
to
can
type?
ask Grok.
DIVOC, Divock.
DOC.
Divock. Yeah, that's it. Just let that right there. So
Well, say
Divock
what
means
is.
the what you just had up there. The what is it? What was it?
Platonic or
Synagogue of Satan or whatever.
synagogue of Satan.
So that's what it means in Hebrew, right?
Oh,
Isn't that interesting? It's where or the translation is to bring the devil into yourself, right?
No
really?
thanks. Merry
Yeah,
Christmas.
I knew Mel. I always knew Mel Gibson was right.
Oh,
But
COVID.
but Hebrew reads from right to left.
Holy.
So what is right to left, Divock? Isn't that
COVID.
interesting?
Oh, that's
my
weird.
gosh.
That's
Dibbook.
funny.
Dibbook. Malevolent possessing spirit. That's the one. Okay. Okay. Not okay. That's all right. That's interesting.
Wow.
That is
Oh, man.
interesting.
It's
interesting.
that word backwards, but
Yeah.
forwards for in Hebrew.
Oh my gosh, Sean.
Could be-
Wow.
Well, apparently, if you say,
Crazy.
Could be
Well,
coincidence.
if you post that phrase on Twitter, you will get that post will be downgraded. It'll get all types
Yeah.
of. It's like really,
it?
it's a
See?
biblical phrase. It's like what?
That's what it means, dude. The synagogue of Satan. That's the literal translation from Hebrew
Yeah.
of Divock, which is
Huh?
COVID backwards.
Well, it's also interesting to the nation state that had the strongest surveillance of the COVID-19 epidemic and the largest. I hate to go
Higher
the largest
percentage of jabs.
testing. Yeah, the
Ugh,
highest percentage
God.
of jabs was Israel, so it kind of makes sense. They were the testing ground.
That's interesting.
Got to play with words,
Fucking
though.
testing.
That is
I
interesting.
hate playing with words.
What's next on the topics?
Continuing
Wait,
our
one more
resolution.
comment on the drones. I didn't get to
Oh.
look at it in there. Do you guys know that Elon's brother has one of the largest drone companies that do all the
Drone entertainment.
synchronized drone things?
Really?
It's also
Hmm.
Palantir.
Drone entertainment company.
Good for
Hmm.
Kendall.
Palantir is probably the one you really need to pay attention to. with
Kendall's
the
a good guy.
surveillance.
I met him once, actually. Good guy.
Who did? Who met who?
I met Kendall. Kendall
Okay.
Musk.
That's cool.
He was in restaurants for a while, and they opened one in Indy, and I was there at the opening.
Wow.
It was super cool.
All right. Next, I have continuing resolution and the literal good that Musk and Vivek have been doing, because this happens every freaking time, and they've actually called it out for once, and it looks like they're going to get it.
I think it's interesting that the power of a post on X, right, by Elon, to really stir it up. Massey has been talking about this for months, that it's going to happen. It happens every year in December, the big push to get everyone to just vote for the omnibus bill and get it through so we can all go home for Christmas.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we're at that same point, just like he called it, just like it happens every year. And power to Elon and to Vivek for being able to push this, and then Trump piling on as well.
They need to get rid of Mike Rogers.
huge.
That dude's a freaking traitor.
They are getting rid of Mike
dual loyalty, or I would say he's probably more loyal
Right.
to freaking AIPAC. Here's a good meme for that than he is to Americans or even his own district, right? That fucking bastard. You need to get rid
Anything
of
that
him.
anything that
Where's
promotes
he
the
from?
end of the end of open bloody conflict, I'm for.
He's not from Texas, is
You
he?
mean
Sean?
Mike Johnson, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
right. Sorry.
They're talking about getting rid of him and putting Matt Gates in.
Do you think Mike Johnson and that
That'd be
and that
awesome.
Poirier guy from
They could.
Canada are the same guy? Because I do.
Maybe.
They look
Maybe.
exactly alike, dude. They look exactly alike.
The Speaker of the House, isn't he from Alabama or Louisiana? Something like that. Mississippi. Somewhere from there.
Is he?
I think they should all
Really?
just fucking take turns. Honestly.
I think they should all hang, but that's okay either way.
Different speaker every day. Then nobody consolidates too much power.
Next is Syria. Well, that was really last week, but we didn't cover it. What's going to happen there? It's going to be horrible civil war, just crazy murderous videos all the time, like
Land grab by
It'll
multiple
be a-
nations.
I
Yep.
can see that.
What,
It's bad.
Syria?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Syria is gone.
We're looting that poor country.
Do you know what's very interesting, which I don't know if a lot of people know? Do you know who was one of the biggest fighting forces in Syria?
Al Qaeda.
No, the Uyghurs.
Oh, the Uyghurs. Yeah, the
Interesting.
Uyghurs were.
What? Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
they
yeah.
were one of
You
the
got a
biggest fighting forces.
yeah.
The,
You got a
now-
You
convolution
sure you're not
of
talking about the
Uyghurs,
Kurds?
No, the Uyghurs.
Kurds are one segment, but the Uyghurs actually have been fighting in Syria and Iraq.
Yeah, but
Weird.
now they're turning their sights towards China. And China is about to lose or about to go to war with Russia.
Yeah.
Wait,
the
what?
West
By the
is
way-
For
really-
Manchuria.
Yeah.
Russia got
World
Manchuria.
War Three.
Oh God.
Let's skip it.
It's
Let's skip World War III, can we?
it's crazy how when a country is weakened, how other countries will go in. I thought we were past that when it came to superpowers, especially. But
All
I
this
guess
makes more
not.
sense if you reframe World War II as a war of conquest.
Yeah.
And
Did the
that's
good guys win World War II?
We talk about World War II, and Lee made this
Did the
point
good guys win World War II?
Unanswerable.
I want to.
how
Unanswerable.
Europe
No, they did not.
got carved
It's
up.
answerable by living today. We can look. We can.
Well,
You can walk.
let's say this:
my-
The streets of
the
New York
vanquished
know the answer to
institutions of the Nazis tell us nothing about the living institutions of the present.
My vote is that the war never ended.
I agree.
It didn't.
Would you rather be speaking
World War One.
German?
World War One
today?
never ended.
Yeah, it's probably true.
Me and Lee
Would
were
I rather
talking
what?
I would
about,
agree with
he
that.
made the point of how everybody talks about how Europe was carved up after World War II, how Africa was carved up after World War II, but no one talks about how Asia was carved up and how
Yes.
Japan used to be this massive empire. They lost so much, and so much of China and Japan went to Russia, and now China's looking to get that back. Especially with how weak Russian is, but yeah.
Mhm.
But I thought the
I
Uyghur
put
thing was
that
crazy.
through Sora.
I didn't know they had this massive
loops.
fighting force now, and they've been building up, and they hate China.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, as they
That's
should.
interesting. Wait, which side were they fighting on?
They were fighting with the Syria, the rebel forces.
Here is a meme, by the way, coming up that combines COVID through some logic provided by Sean and the drones, right? So apparently they're causing myocarditis. If you didn't know that, I don't know if it's a joke or not. It's
This was a
hilarious.
joke, of course.
No, it's hilarious to me. I don't know. It's funny.
It's hilarious.
It's
I
a
love it.
joke
They're
for
throwing over
now,
that football game.
but it's an idea for
God.
later.
Yes.
If that doesn't prove that the whole thing's a do you guys remember the
Didn't-
Canada Wolf psyop?
Go back.
This reminds me
Did
so
you see
much
who
of the
wrote
Canada
that?
Wolf
Did you see
psyop.
who wrote that?
No, I didn't.
Go back.
No,
Go back and look at the
It's coming.
author
It's coming.
of the. Of
It's
that
coming.
article.
Anybody Canada Wolves? Do you guys remember that?
Big Stein.
Frankenstein.
Oh, that's funny.
That's
You guys-
good. I love it. I love it.
There are all the electric cars are not all, but they were showing in Jersey that a bunch of the electric cars were like malfunctioning and
That
like,
was actually just footage of a Tesla event that they reframed as.
oh, you're
as-
kidding!
Yeah, that was the Tesla
Yeah.
Christmas event where they turn on the function that makes the cars do a Christmas light show.
Well, I didn't think they were just Teslas.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, speaking of like technology having certain malfunctions, that a lot of the technology right now that is malfunctioning could have a lot to do with Mercury and its retrograde. I think that ends around Mercury comes out of it in about the early to mid January.
Yeah,
so
yeah. I want to
that's
make
more
I didn't realize
astronomical.
we were in retrograde.
So there's a
Yeah.
planetary
Solar.
parade on the 20th of January or 21st. All planets align except for Mercury. It comes in like a day or two later, and then all
Mhm.
planets are aligned
Neat.
when the new
What day is that?
planet comes in.
Oh, this one is even better. This is one of my favorite recent ones. It's not all that bad, really. Horrible. Anyway,
Wait.
Don't forget.
Look at the date, September 1st. I know it says 2006, but
Yeah.
an anniversary of the
Yes.
Poland invasion.
man,
So,
And
you guys-
also
you guys
Max
know the-
Kaiser. Speaking of yellow or red
astronomical
pants
effects
wearers,
of
Oh,
retrograde,
God.
why we call it that.
can't stand that guy.
Are you guys familiar with why we call Mercury in retrograde retrograde? Like what it means?
No.
So
behind something.
when it transits between the Earth and the Sun, it appears to be moving backwards.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, makes
Yeah.
sense. Yep. How about this one? This one's pretty crazy. We're running out of time. We're getting. Let's see here, some good AI stuff. Do we miss anything else? We have El Salvador dropping Bitcoin. Do we want to go through any of that, or WEF having their way with them?
I mean, the World Bank is a fucked up institution, right? And the IMF and all these things are just their agents of the Fed.
Sorry.
They're implementing a policy that has to do with sovereign debt, and they put leverage on countries, especially in undeveloped states, that if you agree to this policy and do this or that, then we'll forgive this debt. Otherwise, you owe us. And this is exactly what the pressure is that was placed on El Salvador. Is they needed favorable terms from international lending bodies.
Yep. It all comes. Anyway, let's see here. Anything else? Craig disappearing. I don't know. Who knows yet? Liz Cheney. What was the thing about the Liz Cheney criminal referral? Is that true?
Yeah. So
Crazy.
her and then that girl that made up the whole story about Trump beating up his Secret Service in the car and all that. They're both going down. So that was kind of exciting, and I guess it's freaking out all the Dems. So.
Too bad it's not for being a war criminal. But
Yeah, no joke. There's plenty more to go after. And the other is the ISS. There's apparently a rumor that there was a big fracture or something that they can't repair, and that they're kind of keeping it quiet till they figure out what to do.
Is that why they decided not to bring the astronauts home from the Boeing misdelivery?
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably.
Man, I have a whole
That
bunch
might
of,
have something to do with it.
Probably beg Russia to bring them back.
Yeah, like they did.
Didn't Russia bring them back?
No, they've got Elon slated to bring them back.
Yeah, Russia brought him back. I was just thinking.
Yeah, Russia, I think, brought them back.
In
No, they're still
current
up there.
events and memes, I do
Are
need
they?
to post
Yeah.
this. It is
Oh.
probably one of the most brilliant memes to make its way out there for a long time. And speaking of the drones, Trump tweeted this, which in my mind
It's
is
hilarious.
one of the more brilliant things he's ever done. That's the answer.
I mean, that's
Is
what it's all
drones.
about, right?
That's
Fantastic.
meme
what
of the year.
It's just McDonald's.
Dude, I called that.
It
Drone
is so
delivery,
brilliant.
Trying to stop drone
I'm like,
delivery is
man,
what they're
you
trying
can't
to
stop
do.
it. It's like, yeah, and it's like that's why it's worth having Trump as the president, frankly.
Yeah.
Just for that
Entertainment.
shit. So anyway, okay, so let's start down the list. William, what is going on this week? And where can we see it?
I will be. I'm on a mission. I fly tomorrow to Hawaii, and I'm on a mission to bring about change in Hawaii and governance of Den.Social. So it's official trip as Emperor
sure
of
to drink a Mai
Den.Social.
Tai.
Excellent.
But if
Tax
you
deductible.
Dad.
and look for the new year and the first week of the new year, the new show that highlights Den.Social presented by the Emperor.
Can we convert the Dindao to be part of that show too?
Absolutely.
So it's just it'll roll in. Excellent.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's
All right.
awesome.
Lisa.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays, everybody. Frangili.
I don't speak
Must be
Italian.
Italian.
Ave ac fevale.
Lisa.
Yeah, so just wishing everybody a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, all the good things. I have my show with I Am on Mondays and Sean on Tuesdays, and have a great happy hour show on Fridays that then we follow up and have a spaces and go late into the night and talk crazy conspiracy theories, and I would love to have everybody join us there as well. So
Excellent. Excellent. Zach.
Speaking of spaces, I jumped in last Friday. Very interesting. I liked it. So
thanks, Zach.
I did.
Excellent.
But as far as me and old compadre down there at the bottom of our screen, the bald head, we have our Legacy Right live stream that goes to the podcast circuits every Sunday, Monday. But the live stream is every Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Don't know what I'm going to talk about right now because Andrew's going to be missing. We also have the Legacy News segment, what we just started. About a half an hour of us going through news every Monday through Wednesday at 5 p.m. So give that a check out and just like, subscribe, and share everybody's content here. So and get the message out.
Right on.
For real.
Andrew, anything to
Hey,
add?
real quick.
Oh,
thank you, Zach
Merry
and Andrew, for
Christmas
having me
as
on
well.
last. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Zach
Yeah.
and Andrew, for having me on last Friday to have a deep dive into Den.Social. I appreciate you for that. Thank you.
Oh,
that
it
was
was
a
wonderful.
great program.
I love
Thank
it.
you for joining us, William.
Mm-hmm.
Anything to add,
Thank
Andrew?
you.
Zach's
Andrew.
basically covered everything. Sorry, I won't be there tomorrow. I have work, unfortunately. It's mandatory. I can't get out of it. So, but thank you guys for watching us and joining us, and I hope we keep growing.
Greg.
All right, so I just wanted to take my little time here to remind everybody about the Canada Wolves, and this was actually an op by the Canadian Intelligence Service that happened in the early phases of the pandemic. And what they did was they played on loudspeakers howling wolves, and then circulated news stories locally that there were wolves in them hills and that it was dangerous. And they actually freaked people out, got them all worried about wolves, and then they found out later in some released documents that it was all phony, and it was meant to just test whether or not they could scare people into believing there were wolves.
Of course.
So when you read the drone stuff, read it like that. That's how.
That's what it is. That's
Anyway,
that's absolutely it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's me, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year if I don't see y'all, but I'm sure I'll see you. So,
Sean.
Yeah, it's the last episode before Christmas, so Merry Christmas, everybody. Not gonna be doing a ton of stuff, between now and next show, because it's the holidays and everything. Just try to wrap in presents. Yeah, I think Zach kind of hit it. Go follow all of us, and it's good hanging out with you guys. Wish you luck on your mission from God. There, I am for I am. You're gonna wear. You should dress up like a Blues Brother when you go.
Okay.
That would be cool.
Right on.
But yeah, love y'all.
Right on. Okay, and for me, we had, speaking of wolves, we had coyotes. There are coyotes in the area here, and lately, every time I take my dog out, if it's past like 2 a.m. or something, the coyotes are waiting and watching, and it's kind of freaky because they're right across the street just going nuts, and I'm out there with the dog, and I'm like, man, so anyway, it's kind of crazy.
They don't like
are
to jump
you
fences
armed?
towards people?
Usually I am. The other night I wasn't, so it kind of is like, okay, from now on I will always be when I go out there, because it was pretty intimidating. It's like, holy crap. One way or another. The other thing to note, Dragon Chain. So people were talking about the 20th, which is tomorrow, being some date because the court has put a stay on stuff until then. And I'm not a lawyer, but I don't know what happens, and we're still in active negotiations, so I'm not exposing much, but very good developments, very positive things happening related to the case. So I'm confident we're going to have a resolution sooner or later. If we go to trial, it's going to be a few more months, but there'll be a reason, because we're going to win. And no matter what, if we lose, if we win, or if we settle, Dragon Chain's going to move forward, and we're not going to have the freaking ball and chain attached to us anymore, and it's going to really be meaningful difference. So just wait for it and be patient, and we'll give you all the info we can as soon as we can, and good things are coming either way.
They are. I can confirm. I'm the emotional support animal on these calls.
Yes,
so I can tell you it's going
technical. So that's it. Watch us again next week. Make sure you share this program here. It was a good show. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we will see you next week. All right, bye.
Open source からプロモーションからプロモーション省略など serve to organize and measure the best.
Adaptable, all capital, label radical yet rational. A tactical approach is palpable if this animal is fallible, but that conclusion is laughable. So with for all detachable from the mandible, you see it now.